Happy Valentine's Day to
Happy Valentine's Day, lovers.
all my lovers, all my friends,
All your lovers.
all my lovers and friends, to all those out there who are celebrating Valentine's Day. If you celebrate Valentine's Day, drop us a comment. If you have a significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, a sugar daddy, if you are a sugar baby and your sugar daddy is not taking you out for Valentine's Day, we're here for you. We want to show you some love, and we're going to answer some questions that couples ask
If
about
you
money.
don't have a Valentine, we'll be your Valentine. But we're not going to be your sugar mama or papa.
Yeah, we're not going to be a sugar.
We're going to help you be your own sugar person. We're going to help you get your own sugar.
You can be your own sugar person. Get
your own sugar.
All right, so this is our Valentine's Day edition. You want to introduce us?
We are Martin and Chelsea Matthews. If you don't already know who we are married. We're in business together. We have a financial.
We're not married. She is my sugar mama.
That's not true. I am older than him.
She's my cougar.
I am not his sugar mama. I am nobody's sugar mama.
What's up, 2020 Visionaire?
Anyways, as I was saying, if you don't already know who we are, we're Martin and Chelsea Matthews. We are married. We're nobody's sugar mama or papa. We have a financial services agency with a combined, what is it now? 50 combined years?
50 years. Yeah, there you go. 50 years.
20-something combined years experience. And we're also authors
It's
of
Cobos.
this book.
What's up? So
Fight About Money.
yeah, so what are we talking about today?
Well, you just asked me to introduce us.
Yeah, so we already introduced us.
I was talking about our book, which is about couples and money.
Yes.
Hello.
We're talking
Are we going
about
to fight
couples
on
and
our
money.
Valentine's Day special?
Yes, we're going to fight so we can have some makeup love.
Oh my God.
Some makeup loving.
This is a family show. Okay? So
How do you
settle it
think
down.
families are made? So, hey, we're going to talk about questions. We're going to answer couples' questions about money. Answering couples' questions about money. Hey, if you guys have any questions, if you are in a relationship, or you want to be in a relationship, or you were in a relationship, and you guys couldn't get on the same page with money, or you just have some financial questions, we're going to talk about that today on this show. So I want to kick it off with one. I'm going to kick it off with the first one. First of all, should people get a prenup? Should you get a prenup? What would you say to that?
Well, I would say it depends. A lot of these questions are probably going to be, it depends. But we'll talk about what it depends on, because really it depends on where the two parties are at when they get together and when they get married. Like if people have a business together and they build what they have, sure, they own, both of those people, what they have built together, they own. If there's a sugar mama or a sugar daddy and they own, like maybe they've already created a lot of success, property, family business, maybe, it really depends on where each person is and what they're contributing to that relationship. So, but then also if somebody comes into a relationship and one person is very, very successful, another person hasn't created a lot of success, that may be appropriate. But also, are they going to work to build something together? Then there's also the situation where one person may be a stay-at-home, spouse or parent or whatever, and they're contributing to take care of the household and the children, but they may not be directly creating the success in the business or in the finances, but the other person who's creating that would not be able to go create that without the one staying at home.
Yes.
So to me, like if you're coming together in a relationship, you're coming together to share everything: money, success, failures, all of that. In a way, it's kind of planning for failure. But again, it really depends on where each person is at.
So do we have a prenup?
We do not have a prenup.
We do not have prenuptial. So somebody said couple gurus are usually in the worst relationships.
Everything together. What?
Somebody said couple gurus are usually in the worst relationship. I don't disagree. I don't know. So good thing we're not a couple guru. So we don't have a prenup, first of all. And
this is on TikTok, huh?
That's on TikTok. You get the wildest comments on TikTok, boys. I love the TikTok kids. They're wild. So look,
And
by the
we're
way,
and by the way, we're not claiming to be relationship couple gurus.
we are not perfect. We will
We're
let
not
you know that
anything
right away.
gurus.
But I have never cheated on my wife.
We
So-
have a financial services business and we deal with a lot of couples.
Yes, we
and
sure do.
we have seen a lot of questions, conflicts, financial decisions, not just in our own business and our own relationship, but in the hundreds and hundreds of couples that we've worked with.
So here's the thing is, I set out, I was looking for a specific kind of person. I was looking for a specific type of person. It wasn't the look. I wasn't going for, I've dated all kinds. I've dated all kinds of people. It wasn't just about a very specific look. I was looking for a particular attitude. I wanted to be, I was already in business. I needed to be with somebody who, for me, also was business minded. Now, not everybody wants that. I did. So I wanted somebody who was business minded, who could be in business with me. I also wanted somebody who could grow. So who could grow with me. So now, because we were able to do that, I was in business. Chelsea got into business. We ended up combining our businesses. For me, I didn't need to have a prenup. First of all, it wasn't like I was so far financially ahead than she was that I would need to get a prenup. So over these last 10 years, we've built things together. And so we got to where we are at together. So I don't have a prenup. And I think Charlamagne talked about this.
Maybe if somebody has a lot of debt, they get a prenup.
Oh yeah.
Hey, this debt's not going to be mine.
Listen. If you are trying to date somebody, that's one question. That's another question couples ask about is how do you feel about debt? Talking about debt. We're going through a list of different questions couples ask. Right now we're talking about prenup. Next I'm going to handle the debt part because look, if your significant other has a lot of debt, you may want to consider getting a prenup, not because they're super rich, but because of the debt. You may not want to be legally liable for their shit. Okay. They already went and crapped out they already brought like a bunch of financial drama. You don't want to take that on. I've seen a lot. By the way, this happens to a lot of women. Just statistically, here's the truth. I'm just going to give it to you real. This Valentine's Day, we're going to talk about couples and money. Statistically, women will have better credit than men would. And statistically, the men tend to take on more risk, so they will take on more debt, and the men would tend to have more debt. It's not that debt itself, it's bad. It's that the men would generally tend to have more debt. And so statistically, ladies, if a dude is coming to you and you got your career together and he's coming to you and you like him and he's great, got a good personality, everything, he's driven, go-getter, but he's got this baggage of debt, you may want to consider, hey, does it make sense for me to sign something saying your debt's your shit, things we built together, that we can do that together, but then I don't want to take on the debt.
But that means you have to have that conversation to even know about that debt. Because a lot of people don't even have these financial conversations until they've already combined finances or gotten married or go apply for a loan to get a house or to do something where then you have to check your credit and you find out, oh shit. And then you have to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So it's better to have those conversations ahead of time.
Have them early. So those alimony can be outrageous, not trying to fail, but just in case. That is true. But financially, we've seen couples where the guy is in present time way more financially successful than the woman is. But what people don't realize is behind the scenes, when that guy was getting started, that woman took the savings that she had and gave it to the man, and the guy went and built the business with it. But then as the business became successful and everything, she stayed at home, she's running things in the household. But then when they get a divorce, okay, who gets what? She gave him the capital to start the business. She's entitled. She technically is an investor. But because now put it this way, if the guy would have gone out and got that money, it would either have been a loan or he would have taken on an investor. Like you guys watch Shark Tank, there's an investor. Investor takes a piece of the business. So the woman is entitled to get a piece of the business because she was an early investor. And then the guy wanted to fight her on it. So the thing is, if you are clear with each other about things, then it's much easier to understand. Another thing is Chelsea and I are partners in our business. We're partners in all of our different business endeavors. We actually have business relationships where we're partners with other people. So Chelsea's a partner, I'm a partner. So let's say we got another business where we have 4 partners. Me and Chelsea are one partner. There's another couple. They just happen to be couples. It's not a couple related business, but it just happen to also be couples. So they're the other 2 partners. Each of us have a 25% share in the business. So if Chelsea and I ever to get divorced, Chelsea will still keep her 25% share in that business. Whether she operates in there or not, she could probably sell it to me. You understand, a lot of very successful people have partnerships in their businesses. J-Lo and what's his and A-Rod, they were business partners as well. We went to an event that A-Rod spoke at, and he discussed, the different partnerships that they've built together. So even though they weren't dating anymore, they're still business partnerships. There's a ton of A-Rod does a ton of real estate deals. So
someone says, if you don't want to deal with their shit, then why get married? LOL. Yes, good point. But also you have to know about the shit. And the thing is that so many couples, it's not like common conversations. You don't go on a date and be like, hey, what's your credit score? How much debt do you have? Do you own property? Those aren't really discussions that are had until people start making financial decisions together. So the important thing is to have those discussions before you decide to get married, before you combine your finances, so that you are educated on each other's shit and dealing with it.
So one question that couples are asking about this is like, they want to know how do you feel about sharing financial information such as credit score and bank statements?
Someone says, what's up, power couple? Hey, thanks for tuning in.
What's up, Felipe?
Super Felipe.
So that's the question. So what do you say? Now there's different levels of relationships. You could just be dating somebody. You could be living together. Now, if you're living together, you may have expenses and bills you guys have to deal with together. So how are you going to handle that? Credit scores, bank statements. At some point, you guys have to have the financial conversation. There's a post I'll make on my Instagram today about 5 financial conversations that couples need to have, but they're not having. These are all very important things, especially as your relationship gets more and more serious. Now, look, if you're just dating somebody, they don't need to know about your credit score unless they ask you and you feel comfortable revealing it to them. But if you start to get in a relationship with somebody and you guys are thinking about moving in together, hey, those are things you may want to understand about understanding the person's credit score, their bank, hey, how much money do you have? There's nothing wrong with asking that of somebody.
Here's a good question. Do y'all have joint accounts or utilize separate accounts and come together to pay bills for those accounts?
Tell them about that, sweetheart. Tell them how we did it.
Well, okay, I'm trying to. I'm just kidding. So this is a question that a lot of people ask, and a lot of people have very strong feelings about to combine or not to combine. We were just talking about this yesterday, I think. And I'll tell you, for me, when we very first got together and started combining our business and making financial decisions together, I had a lot of baggage as far as like bad past relationships having to deal with money. Like I had people lie to me, I had people steal from me. So I didn't have a lot of trust when it came to men and money and sharing money and making financial decisions together. And so it's something that we had an open conversation about, because it wasn't something that things that Martin were or were not doing that made me not trust him, but these were things that I dealt with in the past. And so by being open about those things, it wasn't like my fears about sharing money, combining money, making financial decisions together were about him. So because I was open to be able to tell and share that with him, that he was able to hear and receive like those things that I was working through and not take it as I don't trust him and not take it as offensive to him. So it was something that we had to work through over time and work on combining finances. So it really depends on where each person is in the relationship, but it comes down to communication. And if there's any kind of fear or stress or anxiety or distrust, then it's important to discuss, hey, is it something the person's doing that you don't trust? Or does it have something to do with what happened to you in the past or an experience that you had in the past? just having those conversations open up, because if I would have said, oh, I don't trust you to make these financial decisions and blah, 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 then he's going to get defensive and like, well, why are you acting like that? And it's going to be a conflict. But because we opened it up and I wasn't blaming him for it, he could be supportive in me like healing and working through those past traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
So to answer your questions, yes, we combine all of our accounts. We have access to all of our accounts. And Martin is the CEO in our business, and I am the CFO. And so we make decisions together, but he focuses on bringing the money in. I focus on sending it out. So, and then I send him a report each week and he sees what came in, what went out, and we set targets based on what we're working towards. And we have different accounts. So we have some accounts where we pay our bills from. We have accounts where we push money aside for future things because we're business owners. We have to have a separate business account and account for taxes. But yes, we combine accounts and we have access to all of them.
Heater Dudes on TikTok, thanks for sharing. And if you guys like our content, share with other people so others can hop on here. We're talking about we're answering questions that couples have about money. So look, from my perspective, let me tell you something. Yes, Camilla, communication is key for sure. So look, from my perspective, I know that the Chelsea's fears around money had nothing to do with me. So she had somebody steal money from her before that she was in a relationship with. The guy stole money from her. And so that had nothing to do with me. But understand, people have past traumatic issues that they're not always going to tell you in the beginning. Sometimes it's embarrassing. You know, if you're in a relationship, somebody physically like stole money from you, it can be embarrassing for you to admit. For you to admit stuff in the future. Hey, Erica, what's up? Thanks for that. Appreciate the love. So she also dated some guy who she thought she was helping the guy pay down some debts, but the dude was taking out money to pay child support. You understand? So
the kids that I didn't know.
She didn't know the guy had kids. He lied about hiding the kids. Then
okay, let's get some of your embarrassing stuff out here now. You told all my
money from her. So understand that sometimes people may not always want to read. People may have things that they would do. I've done all kinds of stuff. I've taken girls on dates where the girl literally had a boyfriend. So I had no idea about this. I take her out, fancy date, we do all this stuff. And then she was like, at the end of the date, I was about to take her home. She goes, oh, my boyfriend's going to come pick me up. And I was like, maybe she's like making it up because she didn't like me. But no, I like hung around. Like she couldn't see me.
Like a business meeting.
She couldn't see me where I was. I hung around. This dude literally came to pick her up. And she kissed him. So I'm like, oh shit. So she was just like coming for the dinner.
Did she know it was a date?
Yeah, she knows a damn date.
You didn't talk business?
No, there wasn't no business thing. This was, I'm into you. Let's hook up on a date and go and take her out. Dude, she like ate a bunch of freaking food.
That kind of thing.
So after you do that a bunch of times, and it just happened to a lot of guys. There's women out there who will date men for the food, and admittedly. So anyway, we're talking about answering couples questions. Now we do have joint bank accounts. We know everything's at all this different stuff, and Chelsea sends me a report. So here's another one. Gift giving to families. Now, the other day somebody brought up the difference, the racial difference between Chelsea and I. Honestly, we don't. It's not something we think about so much. We don't say, "Oh, we're an interracial couple." Other people see that more. It's a lot of you got to being a married, raising a family, running a business, all this stuff. It's its own thing. We don't have time to sit and think, "Oh, I'm black, she's white." We don't have time for that. However, there are a lot of cultural differences because I was born in Liberia in West Africa. Chelsea was born in California. Culturally, what's up, Damian Watts? Shout out to you. Make sure you follow that guy. Awesome guy. So I was born in Africa. Chelsea's born here. Culturally, we have different perspectives. My relatives, both relatives there in different countries here in America, often ask for me to help them financially a lot, all the time. Every week. Chelsea's relatives don't ask for that. so we have to handle okay, I got to help this family member. We got to help this family member. We got to do this thing. We got to do this other thing. And then Chelsea's family will be like sending her money. They're like, her mom will like send her money and be like, hey, go out for brunch. And she's like, Mom, don't send me no more money. But so it's culturally, it's a different thing. So when she and I first started dating, I had to explain to her, that's culturally, that's how it is in our deal. Like me and my siblings had to take care of my grandmother financially, 100%. She had no income. We had to take care of her. Right. So Chelsea understands that now. Yeah. Immigrant life. Yeah, for sure. So when you're an immigrant in this country and you come here, especially my country I was born in is one of the poorest countries. So how was that for you? Like I know there's people out there who their family asked them for help. How was that for you when I first brought that up and explained to you culturally, this is how it was like, that we had to, help our family members as we could?
It was very confusing. And like, hey, we're trying to like make this stuff work over here. And then now we got to, plan for other people's financial situation. And it was just very different because I'm used to, like my parents always want to like help. And then the roles switched, then having to look at, okay, how can we help others? Yeah. And it's not that I'm like so foreign to helping people. Like, I if somebody needs help, then I want to be in a position to help them. But really what it was is like a wake up call and motivation to like, oh, we have a lot more responsibility and a lot more reach to be able to make. And so we need to become even that much more successful so that when people do need help, we're able to help them.
Yeah. And so what we do is we have a giving account, right? So we have an account set aside for giving. I encourage, if you have a lot of your relatives, people reach out to me all the time and they tell me this is something that they deal with. So if you have relatives or friends or whoever, and like they hit you up for help financially, we have an account that's designated for that. And then when that account's empty, that account's empty. So we have to tell people, sometimes I tell them, hey, I've got an account specifically set aside for this. I just had to help somebody last week. I don't have that account's been depleted. I've got to refill it before I can be able to do anything for you.
Yeah, there has to be strategic planning because you can't put yourself at financial risk trying to help somebody else's financial situation. You have to make sure you can stay financially strong and stable. Just like as being a parent or being in a relationship, you have to take care of you so that you are able to take care of others. If you deplete everything you have, then you can't take care of yourself or anyone.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you got some rules around that. So retirement, talking about retirement. So generally when we're talking about retirement with couples, they're married, they've been married for some time, they're thinking about planning for their retirement. Retirement is interesting because with retirement, it's not really joint accounts. Retirement's your 401k, you got two people working, maybe they have 401ks at their jobs, or they got an individual retirement account. I was talking to somebody the other day, the spouse doesn't work, but you can have a spousal IRA. So the working spouse can contribute money for the non-working spouse based on the working spouse's income. So planning for retirement is something that if you're concerned about that, it's something we help people do a lot. And there's different strategies that you can use. You can use traditional retirement accounts. You can use real estate as a retirement portfolio and generate cash flow off of real estate that you both own. You can use life insurance policies and use that for retirement. That allows you to create a tax-free stream of income in retirement. All of that. So a lot of different things that Chelsea and I have liked. We like real estate. We use life insurance policies a lot. We have our businesses. So all of these are different things you can start thinking about when it comes to, okay, if you're a couple, if you're married, how do you plan for retirement, especially if one person's income is significantly higher than the other person, or one person has more assets than the other person. You have to start thinking with those things in mind.
In fact, we're actually doing a contest right now. We are looking for people that we can help protect their retirement accounts. If you know anyone that has an old retirement account, meaning if they have like a 401k from an old employer, or if they have an IRA or a Roth IRA or anything that they're using for a retirement account, and would like a review and see how they can protect and grow, protect it from losing and continue to grow and make sure that it lasts as long as they do in retirement, then we're doing a contest for a Hawaiian trip. We're going to be giving away a trip to Hawaii.
For two.
For
You and your
two.
boo, or your baby mama, or your sugar baby.
Not side chick
Whoever.
or side guy. No side pieces. We don't support that. Anyways, if you or anyone you know has a retirement account and wants it to be reviewed, for every appointment scheduled will count as an entry into winning a trip to Hawaii. So you can message us if you'd like more information. Also, if you do have an account that you would like reviewed, you can go to sixbuildingblocks.com/retirement. And you can request a review there.
And Camilla, can you drop that on YouTube? 6buildingblocks.com/retirement. We're going to send people a trip for two to Hawaii. Cover your airfare, cover your hotel, all of that. So you can go to Hawaii on us. Do you have to be married for the spouse account? I believe so. I'll have to double check. But you definitely, hey, Courtney, thanks for following on TikTok. You have to be.
Oh, for the spousal
You
IRA.
have to for the spousal IRA. You have to file taxes together. So you have to file jointly, so that way to kind of show that you're together. I don't know if you have to be like legally married, but I can double check. So send me a DM on that, and then I can get you an answer on that. I'll just have to double check, so I don't give you incorrect information on it. So look, you want to answer one or two more questions before we wrap up here? Oh, how do you plan to teach children about money and financial responsibility? That's the question I was asked.
Talk about it. You got to talk about it.
Let's talk about it, man.
If you want to
Let's
teach
talk
your
about
kids about money, you have to learn about it and you have to talk about it because they're not learning it in schools. Let me tell you that. They're not learning it at schools because did you learn it at school? No, you had to learn the hard way. So imagine if you could figure some of the things out for yourself and then turn around and teach your kids so that they don't have to make those mistakes. They don't have to learn the hard way. And so a lot of the things that we did to teach our son is, first of all, we just started teaching him like how much things cost. Mm-hmm. Kids don't know how much things cost. They know what they want. They have no problem asking for what they want, but they have no idea what it takes to get it. And so we started having our son make his own financial purchases. And we would tell him, hey, we're going to cover all your necessities. We'll give you a budget for clothing and shoes. But with the exception of like holidays and special occasions, if you want toys or you want to go above your clothing budget, you got to figure out how to make the money. So he figured out he would sell some of his old toys and clothes. He started a business. And once he really started seeing how much things cost, he could start to think, okay, now I got to figure out how to create this money. So now when he wants things, instead of coming to us and asking us for the money, he thinks about how can he go and create that money. Yeah. So it's so important to empower your kids to understand that they can create value. They can exchange value for money and get the things that they want. And so they can start to learn these concepts at a very young age. You'd be surprised how young they can start understanding these things and then learning responsibility and the impact that they can have in their environment.
Yeah. So, and then lastly, what if people have differences in their spending habits? That's one question we get asked a lot. Like one person's a spender, one person's a saver. How should couples handle that?
Well, this goes back to some of what we discussed in combining our finances. Martin is more of a spender. I'm more of a saver. So that also added another element to in the beginning of our relationship when I was more fearful of getting taken advantage of or getting my money spent. And so when Martin would want to spend on things that I would not want to spend on, it would make me fearful that he's going to spend all the money. He's going to take all the money and he's going to spend it. And so it all came down to communication, because instead of we had to learn how to communicate properly, I had to communicate so he was willing to listen. And then he had to also communicate so that I was willing to listen. So instead of saying, you're going to spend all our money, you can't do that. I would say, hey, when you want to spend on this thing, or when you say this, it makes me feel like this. It makes me feel like we're going to be in financial jeopardy. It makes me feel like we're going to spend all of our money and be at risk. And then he would say things like, hey, when you tell me you don't want me to spend money on something, it makes me feel like you're trying to be my mom or trying to tell me how to, spend the money that I work hard for. So we were able to hear where each other was coming from instead of being blamed, and then consider like, hey, is that true what I am afraid of? And he would be like, is that true? Is she trying to be my mom? So it was just the way that you approach something. If you're blaming somebody for something, they're probably not likely to listen or consider if that's true. But if you share with somebody, hey, this is how I'm feeling, and this is what I would say too. I'm not sure if this is something that's going on now or if it's a fear that I have from the past or something that happened before. So it would give Martin permission to not feel blamed and to consider what I was saying, to hear where I'm coming from, and then consider, hey, is it something that I'm doing? Could I do something differently? So it all comes down to communication and also having a plan, like knowing what are your financial goals. So if one person wants to spend and the other person doesn't, you got your financial goals and targets that you're working towards, and you can look and say, hey, does this fit our goals or does this not? Is this going to get us where we want to go or is it not? So it's not about who gets their way. It's about what is going to get us where we're trying to go faster.
So, and by the way, you got to get into a position where you trust each other about money, especially if you're married. Now, I understand there's different levels of relationships. What's up, Care by Nolia? So when you've got to get in a position where you trust each other about money. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. We explained that we had to build trust when we first started dating on the subject of finances together, being a couple. It can be scary. It can be scary when somebody is like, you're new, you got your own finances, you've been running your finances the way you've been running it, now you're trying to combine with somebody else. We talk a lot about that in our book, Let's Fight About Money. It's actually about how to confront money, handle conflicts, build an unbreakable financial house. Mm-hmm. And you get to a point where eventually you trust each other about money, where the person can spend money without having to ask your permission. The whole thing, I got to talk to my wife, my husband, my wife, whatever. Chelsea does not need to talk to me about making decisions, making some financial decisions. We were on a trip the other time. Chelsea spent 15 grand, something like that, on something that was going to help us. She didn't have to ask me permission to spend the money. And everybody's different. Like some people like, dude, if my wife spent 15 grand on something, I'll freak out.
But that was a conversation that we had to have about, and that we're not perfect. We're always evolving and growing and improving, because that was something that we actually had a discussion about, that he had no problem with that. But I realized that I would have had a problem if he did that. I would have been a little bit nervous or a little bit like, why didn't we discuss this together? So that was something I had to look at like, hey, why is that? Is that I don't trust myself or I don't trust him? And it was like, it came down to trusting myself to trust someone else. And so we continue to improve our trust for each other, improve our communication, improve our actions and our results. And so that was something that I had to realize, he trusts me in that area, but do I have that same trust? And so I had to clear that up.
And by the way, I never this is an excuse that comes up when people are in a sales situation and they're trying to buy something, like, let me talk to my wife. I never give that excuse. I stopped giving that excuse. Let me talk to my wife. Because
that was something we would always make financial decisions together.
Yeah, I understand. And understand, this is not an easy place to get to. I'm not taking that lightly. It takes, Chelsea and I have been together for over 10 years. So it's not something you take lightly or you just get to overnight. But first of all, we need to be able to make decisions. And it doesn't mean it gives you
permission to just go make stupid decisions and be like, you have to trust me.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go and do some random crazy stuff that'll put us at risk. So, and she knows that anything I'm doing, I'm doing for the benefit of our group, our family, our business, our staff, all of that, right? So we discuss that. If I want to let go of somebody in our business, I don't need to ask Chelsea, hey, maybe we need to do a whole lengthy discussion. Sometimes we do discuss that because we're trying to look at pros and cons and everything like that. Somebody says, John says, true growth in relationship begins from separating emotions from actions. Yes.
Absolutely.
You got it's extremely, extremely important. Somebody says, I feel so bad for this guy. He can't finish a sentence without interruption. Don't feel bad for me, man. So look, it's very important for you to understand. And the funny thing is, Chelsea always says that when she's talking, I interrupt her a lot. So it's kind of interesting. It's interesting what people's perceptions is when they watch you for a few minutes and how people make judgments on things. I want you to understand, though, when it comes down to your finances, nothing's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Wherever you are, you can always get better. You can always improve things. If you have any questions as whether you're a couple trying to handle finances, whether you're trying to handle your retirement, things like that, we're happy to help you. If you want to understand strategies like how to use life insurance, become your own bank, all these different things we teach and talk about. Today's Valentine's Day, so we thought we would answer questions related to couples and money. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you liked it, please share. If you like to follow us, if you want to follow us to see more of this stuff, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, and by the way, if you have a retirement account and you want to win a trip to Hawaii, and you have other people who have old retirement accounts, you can go to 6buildingblocks.com, with start with the numerical 6buildingblocks.com/retirement. And you can fill out a questionnaire on there. And if you schedule an appointment, you don't have to buy anything. But if you schedule an appointment, you get entered. You can refer yourself. You get entered to win a trip for 2 to Hawaii from Chelsea and I. Will send you and a guest to Hawaii. We'll pay for your airfare, pay for your hotel, all of that. I'm great for this power couple at sharing great information. Awesome. Thanks. Appreciate that. Callie Lily twins. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all. We'll see you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Now go get laid, baby. Go get laid. Go get you some.
Goodbye.
Even if you got to get you some with yourself.
Oh
Go get you some action. Get some action. It's the only
Okay,
one of the days.
okay.
You have to go.
Goodbye.
Oh no, the TikTok guy is going to say she's covering me.